Jon Crowley is the executive director for the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission. He joins us this morning here on Jersey Magazine. Jon, good morning. And I guess to start, give us a little background for our listeners on the commission.
Good question. The commission has been around for about 40 years. I will tell you that I have filmed in 25 states, 22 different countries. I come from a production background. I help develop and create a show called Impractical Jokers and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I come from production. I'm also a councilman in Atlantic Highlands, my third term. And I know the reputation of this commission coming into it is pretty fantastic. We're as hands-on as you want us to be, meaning that when a production rolls into town, you want to give us your script. We'll do a breakdown. We'll help you find locations anywhere in the state. You need a little town like Mayberry RFD. We can find that. There's several of them. You want a big city lookalike to play double to Washington, D.C. or Times Square in New York. We can do that for you. You want a horse farm, or you want to go from the beach to the mountains with snow. We've got all that. So we've got locations, a variety of locations, unlike any other state in the union. It's one-stop shopping for production. We'll help you with locations. We'll interface with other state agencies like Department of Transportation or Department of Labor. We will put you in touch with our various vendors and suppliers throughout the state. We have an incredible infrastructure, which we put on display in May at the NJ Film Expo. We had 86 vendors, everything from visual effects to set construction to design, prop design and construction, audio, lighting, grip equipment. We're really built out. We're a very mature infrastructure here in the state of New Jersey. And so that's why I think more and more productions are coming here. Part of what we do is we message out to the studios and networks at the commission, like, why would you want to go anywhere else besides New Jersey? We have everything that you need right here in New Jersey. So that's a big part of what we do, is just messaging and that business development, because it all comes down to creating jobs for all sorts of people, whether it's business owners that have like a hardware store or a dry cleaner or the person that owns a grocery store. These productions, when they come in the state, they don't have that money. They don't bring those things with them. They're buying them here in New Jersey. And then we're putting all of our really talented workforce to work with more and more productions. We're the only major state with a film tax incentive that was up last year. Out of the top like 5 or 10, we're up 37% year over year. And that's because more and more people at the studios and networks are discovering what makes Jersey great.
You mentioned filming locations and staying here in New Jersey. There's a movie that's coming out in October, the Bruce Springsteen film, Deliver Me from Nowhere.
Wait, who?
Which Bruce
Bruce
Springsteen,
who?
maybe you've heard of
Bruce
that guy.
who? That guy. That guy, yes. Native son.
And, you know, so many, I've seen stills and a little bit of footage from shots that were in Montclair and in Freehold and in Asbury Park. What kind of impact, economic impact, does a movie like this have on towns like Montclair and Freehold and Asbury Park and some others where it was shot?
The economic impact can be huge. So it's funny. There's a thematic string running through all this, because we had Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan last year, and then we've got our Bruce Springsteen biopic. And I know with the Chalamet picture, they filmed every single day in New Jersey. So if you've seen the film, you're looking at it thinking that's New York. No, it's not. It's all New Jersey, from Cape May, Newark, you name it, Jersey City. And that's one of the great things for filmmakers, is they realize New Jersey has all these various looks. So when they land in a town, for example, I can give you a couple of examples. We had Billy Eichner. When they land in a town, I'll finish that thought. When they land in a town, the economic benefits to a town can be tremendous. For example, Billy Eichner was filming here a couple years ago on a film called Bros. They needed a parade sequence, and they needed a bunch of balloons. Well, they went to the local balloon shop and spent $19,000 on balloons.
Wow.
Happy Gilmore spent about $155 million in state. I bet if you reached out to 10 friends, you'd find two, three of them were actually extras on the Happy Gilmore 2 film shoot. They had a budget of $6 million were just for extras, which is, $180, $200 a day. It's not bad. Go hang out with Adam Sandler and make a couple of bucks. Go have a nice dinner at the end of the day. Steven Spielberg was down in Cape May, and we were with one of the senators, one of the state senators, and we pointed out, we said, you see the crew, there's 350 crew members here. They're all staying in hotels in your district, and they're staying in 8 hotels at an average of $285 per night. You do the math for a week. And I said, at night, when they wrap, they all take their per diem and they're buying dinner at restaurants in your district. And the senator looked at me and he said, in the off season. And it's like, yeah, that's right. In the off season. So you start looking at those things. Now, look, I directed a little film a couple of years ago in my town. I did not have a budget like Spielberg. I did not have a Happy Gilmore 2 budget. It was a $3 million film. But in the 6 days that I filmed in my town, we spent almost $30,000. Every day my camera crew was at the coffee shop buying coffees because they got tired of craft services coffee and they bought it. We had lunch catered from one of our barbecue joints. The art department was at the hardware store every day getting paints, brushes, nuts, and bolts because they were building sets where we were on location. So you think about it, for a town of 5,000, $30,000 spent in 6 days, that was a nice infusion of cash. So you have to look at the budget, and you see that there's there's differences in the budgets and there's varying differences in the spend, but they're all meaningful. At the end of the day, they all count for something for these local businesses.
Referring back to the Bruce Springsteen film, watching, because I know a couple of people actually who ended up as extras in the film, and they were posting some pictures online.
I told you, if you ask 10 people, you'll know a couple of people. You just proved the theory right there. Look at that.
Exactly. Well, they were posting some pictures, and watching the carousel in Asbury Park come back to the way it looked when I was a kid was amazing. And with so much being done these days via CGI and what have you, and sets being torn down out in California, I find it so refreshing to look at a film like the Bob Dylan film, or hopefully, I'm going to like this Bruce Springsteen film, and see that it has that authentic, well, in the Dylan film case, at least an East Coast feel to it, even though, like you say, a lot was shot in Jersey. In fact, not far from where my daughter lives in Hoboken, some of the scenes were shot that were supposedly Greenwich Village. But knowing that this was done right there in Asbury Park, and they are recreating it, taking it back 50 plus years, period cars, making the carousel basically come to life, was fascinating.
And, as long as we're using human actors, which is going to continue for quite a while, because, your audiences like to connect and they become fans and admirers of somebody's work. Your actors want to relate to a real environment, a physical environment. And so, because that motivates their performance, it helps them in their performance. So location shooting is not, going away anytime soon. And you raised another point, which is, for so many years in New Jersey, people would point to The Sopranos. And I think one of the big jobs that we do on the commission is making the studios and networks aware of the fact that we're much more than just a steel bridge, right? That we have mountains, that we have lakes, we have rivers, we've got small little towns, we've got big cities, horse farms, everything in between. And by the way, most of these things are no more than 30 to 90 minutes apart from each other. So for a production that has a lot of location needs, they can get from point A to B to Z in practically no time. But there's another element, which is, I think we're going to see a rise in film tourism here in the state, where something is really going to hit, like The Sopranos. And, look, I moved to the Jersey Shore 18 years ago, and I was driving down Ocean Avenue, and I went, hey, that's season 4 of Sopranos. That's Whitecaps. That's the house that Tony bought, right? And so as more of these pictures hit, whether it's A Complete Unknown or Happy Gilmore 2, what have you, people are going to want to, if they're coming to New York and they're going to a Broadway show, it's easy to just get across the tunnel or bridge and go look at a location that they want to see in one of their favorite pictures. So film tourism, I think, is going to be on the rise. Already Severance is a big hit, right? So people are going out to Holmdel and they're going to look at the Bell Lab Works like, I want to go see what's inside, the Severance building. So we've seen that already, and more is to come.
One of the things I noticed on the website is Film Ready New Jersey. Tell us about that.
So Film Ready is a program that was started about 2 years ago. And do you remember the book that came out, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, What to Expect When Expecting, when you're
Yes.
pregnant? All
Yes.
right. So this is the What to Expect When Expecting a Film Crew. And it's a workshop that we do. It's a certified program, or it's a program where you can earn a certificate that says that you're film ready in the state. So it's a workshop that the Film Commission puts on for municipalities. So for elected officials or municipal workers like clerks and city managers and things like that, they attend a workshop, which is about 4 hours long, and then they appoint a film liaison, and then they list a number of their businesses that could be in support of a film production, and they also take pictures of at least 8 locations in their town that a production might be interested in. It could be a marina, it could be a town hall, it could be a jail, you name it. And they load them into our system. And when a location scout comes to New Jersey, and that's the beginning phases of production, is trying to find locations to match whatever the needs are in the script, they go to our website. And once they start picking out locations, or we help them scout locations, then they can start looking at, well, what is in the area that I need to support our crew? A grocery store, a gas station, a hardware store, a dry cleaner. And so this is a great resource that we have for the state now for production. They can find all these things. And it's really great for the towns, because the towns are able to put their best foot forward in getting out, making awareness of who they are and what they have to offer a production. So between the locations and the businesses, and there's a set of requirements, and they also pass either a code of conduct or a film permit ordinance. And what we've done on that side is we stopped down for a few months last summer with the Attorney General's office, and we put together the set of requirements so that from film ready town to another film ready town to another film ready town, we're building consistency through the state, because line producers and UPMs, unit production managers, they sorry, an alarm went off. So what we're doing is we're trying to build consistency through the state with the Film Ready project. And what do I mean by that? It means that there are a lot of unit production managers never filmed in New Jersey, and they know that we've got 564 different municipalities, which to their minds means 564 different sets of rules, right? And that they think, how am I ever going to negotiate getting around New Jersey? Well, one, the Film Commission will help you with all that, with permitting and walking you through the process and introducing you to the correct people in these different municipalities. But now they know when they go to a film ready town, there's consistency. It's a prescribed number of days to turn that permit around. So I have permission to go film in that town or at that location. And they also know exactly what they're going to be charged for a permit fee. So because budgets are tighter, and they want most of the money to show up on the screen and not in permits. So we're competitively priced. We've taken that price from other states, other towns around the country, and what was already pre-existing here in New Jersey. So it's a really good calling card for the industry of like, we're here, and you know what? There's a lot of people that are signaling out to you with their certification for Film Ready. They want you here too.
Jon, for listeners who want to learn more about the commission and what it does, where can they go?
They just Google or just do a search for New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission, and that'll put you right to our website and put you right there.
Jon Crowley, who is the executive director of the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been a fascinating conversation speaking with you.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it. Bring us back anytime.